They were thumping the Cavs early in the first quarter, and they were talking trash, and they were, "This is our Joe," and yeah, let's get it. And then they got waxed. You know what I'm saying? But
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the iCoaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday episode, we've got NBA and WNBA talk. Segment 1, we're going to go through the hottest teams, the nottest teams. In segment 2, we're going to look taking commits in the city of brotherly love. And in segment 3, all things WNBA. But first, Eastern Conference. Cleveland, Boston, Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, Detroit, and somebody on the panel said early in this year, you better watch out for Detroit. They're pretty good. Yes. Outside looking in, Orlando, Miami, Hawks, Bulls, Eastern Conference notes, hottest team, Cavs, Boston, and Detroit. So, Coach Johnson, our coach of the year every year. Any thoughts on the East this week? And feel free to pat yourself on the back as Detroit is having just an outstanding season this year.
Oh, my goodness. I love that young team. I like the energy they're playing with. Again, the top teams in the East, Boston and Cleveland. But, you know, what Cleveland did to Boston the other night in terms of the comeback and so forth was wonderful. My Sixers got a win yesterday. Gifted by Jimmy Butler not playing. Again, Cleveland is the best team in the East this year. Boston, as we know, year in and year out, is pretty good. They're going to be super. But I have Cleveland coming out of the East for the championship this year.
All right. Robert Abney, our favorite administrator. Any thoughts on the East this week?
Well, I think that, it's been what it's been for weeks now. The Pistons are playing very well. And they're pretty much solidified in that they can move up, but they're pretty much assured of no worse than being number 6 right now in the playoffs. I still think it's going to be Boston in the end. They're just kind of hanging around, not all that interested in what's going on in the regular season.
Go ahead,
tag in.
Say that.
Captain for life, Will Cotton. Tap in. Go ahead and tag, and you got it, sir.
I remember early, I think it was Thursday or Friday, they were thumping the Cavs early in the first quarter, and they were talking trash, and they were, "This is our Joe," and yeah, let's get it. And then they got waxed. You know what I'm saying? But that's been one of the things that I've said about Boston is they have these like random laps, not enough that will affect them, I think, in the playoffs. But they have these like weird things where like they just don't win. They just don't win. It's weird. The Knicks are a distant third. Let me tell you right now, a distant third. They'll make a good, interesting first round, and that's about it. Very, very quietly, Milwaukee got very good. And if you remove Middleton and add Kuzma, and Kuzma is now the third option, like a hard third option, and he can defend and shoot, and he's playing pretty well. They beat the Nuggets earlier this week.
Yeah, they did.
Watch out for the Bucks. Watch out for the Bucks. If they can get Holiday back, really watch out.
Hey, right now, the first round matchup is the Knicks and the Pistons.
That would not be good for the Knicks. That would not be good for the Knicks. Young legs, run free. All right, in the Western Conference, OKC is 1, Memphis is 2, Denver is 3, Houston is 4. Houston better play better. Lakers are 5, man. What in the world? Clippers are 6 on the outside looking in. The T-Wolves, Golden State, Dallas, and Sacramento. Hottest teams right now in the West, OKC, Denver, a little hot and cold. Denver cost me some non-entertainment kind of things. Lakers and Memphis. Okay, Cotton Man in the West. What you got going on? What are you thinking about?
I'm not going to talk about the Lakers. Everybody is, and it's boring. I don't want to talk about. Memphis is really like turning around, man. They're really understanding. They're not as scared of anybody. They have a little bit more experience going into the playoffs. So I think they're going to be tough. And Jokic is putting everybody on his back. This dude is playing amazing right now. I know they had a slow start in the season, but now everything's clicking. I think they need Jamal Murray to kind of step up a little bit more. I think everybody else is playing pretty well. Aaron Gordon, I mean, people sleep on him. That is a great piece for them, and with the reason that they won the championship the first time. Him being healthy will be key going further. I'm wondering why Sacramento can't make that next. It's like you're in the party. You got stars now. You got size. You got guards who can run. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, everybody loves Doug Christie. Apparently, where are the consistency that they're going to start? I don't know, but it's looking exciting.
All right, Coach Johnson, in the West, what direction are you going in this week, sir?
Every time I see Denver play, I'm impressed with them. I agree with Cotton because what the big fella is doing, again, is unbelievable. And I know we talk about SGA and everyone else for MVP. As long as this boy lacing up sneakers, he's the MVP of the NBA. What his numbers are unbelievable. You got a guy having 15 rebounds, 19 assists, and 30 points. He's 7-footer. I like OKC, but I still think at the end of the day, I don't know if they're gonna come out the West this year. I like them a lot. But again, I'm a huge Memphis fan because of Ja. But he got to play. He got to play and he got to be smart. I like the addition of Zach Edey. He gives them a true big, that at least makes some things easy for them defensively. But I got Denver coming out. And although Cotton didn't want to talk about it, the Lakers with Luka are actually fun to watch because now guys have solidified their roles defensively. And, they do their thing on offense.
All right, Robert, go in whatever direction because I know how that story with the Lakers is going to end, but we got to do our job. So thank you, Coach Johnson, for respectfully talking about the Lakers so I don't have to. All right, Robert, you've got it, buddy.
Well, so the Thunder are far and away going to be the 1 seed. Right now, you're looking at, we've got 22 games left in the regular season. You have 2 games separating the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, and the Rockets, 2 through 5, which is interesting. But you also have 1 game separating Clippers, Warriors, Kings, Timberwolves, and Mavericks, 6 through 10. So it's going to be interesting to watch and see how all of that kind of shakes itself out.
And I like that you mentioned that there's about 20 some odd games left. And as a coach, this is now Coach Adams, them early games where y'all just didn't want to play or whatever is now going to come back and haunt you. And now you're pressing going into the playoffs as opposed to OKC, Cleveland, Boston. They're coasting right now, subbing in some extra guys, getting some extra reps. I might drop a game here too, but I'm sharpening my saw. And Golden State, y'all got to play that's a lot of energy you got to put out.
I can't believe Phoenix is not in the playoffs. I cannot believe it.
Yes, you can.
If you came to me,
you watched Bradley Beal for 10 years, and you sit there asking why they ain't in.
If I woke up from a coma and you told me you're like, yo, Phoenix has KD, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. I'm like, oh man, you're like, they're not even in the playoffs. I'm like, oh, I can't even believe you. I couldn't even believe you.
All right, Mike King, any thoughts on the West? What are we thinking about this week, sir?
I'm just going to use my time to talk about how Chris Finch is a whiny loser. Hate that guy. He goes off on the whistle that OKC gets. In a game, he gets 15 more free throws. OKC is 29th in the league in free throws. 29th. The other teams against OKC are like 7th. And he's whining about the defense they get to play. Yeah, they get called fouls. That's why you shot 15 more free throws, you whiny loser. Then he plays the Lakers, loses to the Lakers. They shoot 20 more free throws. Does he say a word? No. Shut up. That's it.
Okay, so when we
Shut up.
get back in segment 2, we're going to talk about letting the tanking commence, but maybe Philly didn't get the message because now they want to play hard. We'll be right back on the Hot Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast, and in segment 2, let the tanking commence. Okay, Embiid is out. He should have been out. He shouldn't have been in.
Correct.
Playoff P is no longer doing his podcast that I didn't know he was doing in the first place. Will Cotton, we have talked on and offline about Philadelphia and what you should and shouldn't do. Any thoughts to Embiid not playing and playoff P getting in the playoff mode by not doing his podcast? You have the floor, sir.
It was a weird comment. I mean, he said, I'm going to stop doing my podcast to focus on the playoffs. I'm like, that's kind of like, I'm not really, like, nobody's going to believe that. Like, that's what somebody told him. They said, look, no, you're not doing this anymore. So now he's trying to make it a thing. It was very upset. I mean, I know Philadelphia is very upset with all the money they paid for Embiid, all the money they paid for Paul George. And they're not getting the season they want, but I do think that just like make them rest, put them down, get ready for the next season, because you're not gaining anything from winning these games. The next, what I think you said 22 games, Robert. So you're not gaining anything. You're not going to make the playoffs at all. So why not just rest your guys that already have ailments, get a jump on the off season, and get them ready to go? Because one of the problems were them coming in where they were not healthy. So if you can start that process now, move forward, get whatever they need so that October they're ready to go. And then you could ramp it up based as the season. And then you're going to have another young stud because you're going to pick a kid who's going to have the opportunity, who's going to come off the bench and really, if you're like, man, I really need a new, backup point, or they have a backup point guard. They need like a backup, like a backup wing. But they even have like Oubre. We'll figure what they figure out, but they'll have a young player with the top 6 who's going to be able to develop and grow with them. And, that's what's good for 2026. But now just, it is what it is. Y'all are done. Just relax. Manage your team. That's what it is.
All right. Coach Johnson's a legitimate Sixers fan. Either are you happy or are you sad that we're doing this? What do you think, sir?
Well, one, they should have set Embiid a long time ago. He's not able to get up and down the floor, and I'm a huge Embiid fan when a young man's healthy and so forth. But they should have set him down. Yeah, we got a tank. We got a tank for Ace Bailey. We got a tank. They should have did it. Tanking is not new to us. remember, we still have the 9-73 record. and a few years ago when we tanked. I was running the Sixers summer camps, and I almost at every home game because you could get in for nothing. And, we got a tank. We got a tank.
All right,
I feel bad for Nick Nurse because
checks clear. What are we feeling bad for the guy with the checks clear?
Well, yeah, that's true, but I think he's a heck of a coach. And this is a situation where It's a lost season. They might as well keep losing.
Well, Coach, I actually wanted, and I stay on the Sixers season tickets.
Okay.
I stay on the season ticket list, and I stay on the Wizards season ticket list, and it's one of the things CKA wants to do is get back in the season tickets because Philly's got a great atmosphere when you go for a basketball game.
Yes.
Robert, I'm going to put this on your desk as an athletic director now. Joel Embiid played in the Olympics, and now he's not playing for me. Are we mad, or where are we with that, sir?
Why is he playing in the Olympics? If he knew that, I mean, why is he playing in the Olympics?
He should. Now it's hurting me now.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. Why was he playing in the Olympics? But whatever. I mean, if I'm Philadelphia right now, and I'm thinking, okay, I got a draft pick coming that's going to help me. That's not necessarily true. Because right now that draft pick belongs
to me,
to Oklahoma City.
Does it?
And
my king will tell you momentarily.
If they're gonna say, "All right, well, we're gonna tank," I mean that they're gonna have to get a significant amount of help for that pick to go back and belong to them, because right now they're probably, let's see, I want to say they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They're 7, I think.
Right now they're 7th.
Yeah.
Right?
By half a game.
So in order for them to keep that pick, they're going to have to get some help.
All right. Speaking of that, Mike King, can you explain to our audience why we smile when we talk about the Sixers now starting to tank, and it might be a little too late? Please inform our audience.
So the Thunder get the pick if it's 7 or beyond. So it's top 6 protected. Right now they are 7, but half game. That win yesterday moved them from 6 to 7. It's going to come down to those two teams, Nets and Sixers, because everyone else is, I think, too far ahead realistically. So they're both fighting in that 6-7 range. It's going to end up being like the lottery, and does any team jump up? But if it's 7 or beyond, it goes to the Thunder. And Bill Simmons had a thing about this. If the Thunder have the 7 pick, they could just go all in and say to whatever team's won, hey, we'll give you our 7 pick, and here's 40 other picks. Give us Cooper Flag, or try and trade up for Bailey, or stay at 7, because I think this draft's pretty good. I look at like guys that are in the team, like to me, Derek Queen's who I would love as a Maryland fan, but also what he can do. It's just a skill set you don't see in the NBA. So I'd be at 7. I'd be fine reaching for a center who can pass, who's got a Jokic level passing game. Love his game. There's so few people in the NBA that have it. So I see these drafts where he's like 15 to 20. No, I'll take him at 7. So that's what I'm thinking. But to what Will was saying with the Paul George quote, it was such a weird thing to say. It reminded me of Domino's when they made those commercials where they're like, yeah, our pizza's been bad for 20 years, but we fixed the crust. Like, he knows that this was bad for him.
Exactly.
Why would he say it? It was such a bad look. Oh, I'm going to focus on basketball now. I haven't been doing that for years. Like, shut up.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm like, dude.
I do quickly want to add that the Philadelphia supposedly are talking about trying to recoup some of that money from Joel of this new contract. They want some of that money back.
So, to my knowledge, I've heard rumblings about maybe a medical retirement or something like that. I'm going to let you know he's going to get all the money that he's supposed to get. Let's just get that out of the way. Whatever he's got guaranteed, whether he plays or whether he doesn't play, the Players Association will make sure that he gets every single dollar allocated to him. But what are we doing? You knew you weren't going to be good. On my end, I don't care about the Olympics. He should have been on the team anyway, but they had whatever. He cried for the MVP. You're just not booking this right. And I knew that it was a top 7 protected pick. So I'm sitting there saying, what are y'all doing? And then they go out and win games, and you're like, you don't even know how to lose right. So
They need to
I don't
lose.
know.
They need to lose themselves to the 5 pick. So if a team jumps them, they still get the 6 pick. But even if they get up to the 6 pick, there's no lock that someone doesn't jump them and they drop down to 7 and they lose the pick. This is a valuable pick. Next year it becomes top 4 protected when Embiid might be healthy, and they probably aren't going to be in that kind of situation.
Yeah. So as we close out this segment,
it's really
go
sad.
ahead.
Just I want to add something real quick.
Yeah.
It's really sad that the Nets and Sixers are done playing for this year, because that would have been, you want to talk about, the resistible force against the movable object. Think about those two teams. They're trying to hold on to that number 6 draft pick. Think about what that game. Think about what a poop platter that
game. All right, so we're gonna do one quick round. We got 20 some odd games left. Give me a player that's gonna have an impact on the postseason in terms of positioning. Will, starting with you, which player are you keeping an eye on these last 20 games as we start positioning for playoff seeding?
Everybody is really talking about it, but Jimmy Butler, he really likes playing in Golden State. They really like him there. Again, this is classic Jimmy Butler. He comes to your team in the beginning. Everything's good in the beginning. Everything's handshakes and powwows. And I got my money. I'm happy now. So, I'd be very happy too about making $50 million a year for the next 2 years. And it's really given kind of an ability for another dynamic scorer that they were lacking, especially when Clay, even though Clay wasn't really dynamic, but they don't have that,
right.
Or even KD. So now Jimmy Butler kind of can, attract defenders. And I mean, come on. I mean, if you're going to give Curry more space, it's over. It's over. So I think he's the one that, and the best thing is now it's very quiet. You don't even hear about Jimmy Butler. All you hear about is winning. He's a great teammate. Oh, he loves playing in Golden State. They love it. So I think that the biggest thing that's happened. I'll see what's happening going on. He's very known for catching fire. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Robert, any player these last 20 games that's going to catch your eye? I'm going to watch that guy.
If there's one person who can really kind of change, I don't know, man. I really think the Western Conference, all of that 2 through 10, how that sorts out those two groups that are really close together, it's going to be, so if you're talking about 2 through 5, for example, you got the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, and the Rockets. So it's really about, we know Jokic is going to get his on the Nuggets. Who's going to step up? For the Lakers, you got Luka and you got LeBron. Who's going to step up? For the Grizzlies, who's going to step up? For the Rockets, who's going to step up? And it's really whoever on those teams has a guy who's not their main guy step up and play the best. That's who's going to be seeded the best. So it's going to be interesting to see how that comes out, I think.
Okay. Coach Johnson, is there a player that you're like, I got to watch this one because he can make something happen?
I think quietly, Tobias Harris with Detroit. I think he's been a great voice for them in the locker room. I think he's been a great addition on the floor. And I think he's going to help these young guys learn what it takes to win. I like Detroit. I like the makeup of this young team. I like how everyone's accepting of their roles. I know when Ivy got hurt, people was wondering what's going on, but Malik Beasley has been unbelievable shooting that basketball. Tobias Harris is my guy.
Okay. Mike King, what about you, sir? Any one player that is catching your eye the last 20 games?
I'll go a different direction of everyone else and not go role player. I'll go the Stars, because in the end, the Stars are going to decide who wins. So in the East, for me, it's Cade, just because it's been fun seeing him live up to the billing, and 25 and 9, and the shooting's better and everything's better. It's been fun seeing him live up to what everyone kind of thought he was going to be. And on the West, I'm going to go with Ant, because everyone wants to say he's going to be the face of the league. Well, Do
He's
it.
not.
You gotta stop getting texts.
Do it.
He
You've done it.
does.
You got 20
Get
games.
text.
You're in the middle of, you could go anywhere from 2 to 10. Do it. Be the face. Prove it. That's what I'm waiting for.
I want to jump in with that. Well, one, and stop getting texts, man. Coach Adams does not like technical fouls. That's why are we anyway. I got two, and they're secondary guys that will play a primary role. Kyle Kuzma, you have eyeballs on you now, and the game is different when you've got eyeballs on you and expectations. Anybody can hit 20 for the Wizards, and when you played in the bubble Lakers, you were the Robert Ory. You're open for a reason. Okay. Now Milwaukee actually needs you to play every night. It's a different vision. When you're expected to play every night, it's not funny anymore. Nobody cares about your Big Bird outfits. No. We got to play. And I ain't got time for your blankety blank to be a blankety blank. I need your blankety blank to hit shots every night, and I need you to be as predictable as possible. You got to guard the other team's best player and shut up about it. And when I throw you the ball and you shoot it, it's got to go in for us to win. And when those eyeballs and the cameras and the click, 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 yeah, I don't care about your blonde hair. I don't care about any of that. And the next guy is Rue Hachimura. This is your chance because nobody's guarding you. No one's thinking about you. You got LeBron, you got Luka, and this is how you get your money. Okay? Stand in the corner, have your hands ready, and shoot, and make sure it goes in. Play a modicum of defense. Don't foul out. Contain and challenge, and the riches will come to you, sir. So with that, in segment 3, this is a no-hate conversation, but Diana Taurasi retired, and there's a lot of conversations about goating and hurting and stuff. Got to get the panel to calm me down. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful anecdotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast, and in segment 3, DT, Diana Taurasi, has finally retired. So I'm sitting here looking at Will because she really came into play her senior year at UConn, which was Will's senior year of high school. And that's why I'm laughing because, yeah, she's been playing that long. And Will, it's been 20 years. But there's this GOAT debate that I kind of want to get my panel's thoughts on. So Will, I'm going to start with you because, again, I remember you being in school and UConn and the women team and what have you. What are your thoughts about Diana Taurasi and the GOAT debate?
It's interesting. I mean, we can't really argue her stats or accolades or, all things that she's earned. I think, that puts her in the conversation. But as you get older and it's kind of different when you look at the person and how the person moves around. That's what makes Kobe so great. People look at how he was outside of basketball. He was locked in, but now people are like, oh, look at his personality. He was very intuitive and smart and understanding, intelligent. First of all, she's very reserved. So you don't really get a really opportunity to understand who her personality. She's very shy, very quiet. And then the really thing that kind of stuck with me is that she was hating a lot on the new generation, which never scales with me. So tied to that, it's like, you're one of the GOATs, but you're not one of my GOATs because you didn't give me the opportunity to see who you are And the small glimpse that I do get to is something I don't like. So she kind of chose what she wanted to do, and that's fine to her, you know. And one thing I'll say that Asia Wilson is changing that. Asia Wilson is like, okay, I got to be in commercial. I got to be. People got to see what I'm doing. You know, I got my podcast out. You know, Tarasi. You know, great. From my remembering, and maybe you guys could change that for me. She's very boring. Very boring. No talkative. No kind of quotes or anything that you're like, ah, man, I remember she said that. You know, but congratulations. You know, first ballot, easy. And I hope she takes her platform to show more love rather than what she hated when she left the league. You know, because she's going to get an opportunity to be a commentator or somewhere on TV, at minimum on a podcast, and it would be much better if she showed more love than she did some hate.
All right, Robert, you're our administrator, and you bring levity. That's a shoot, by the way, fans, to all of us. Any thoughts about Diana Taurasi?
I mean, you're really talking about, if you're going to argue about Diana Taurasi as being one of the greatest women's players of all time, you're really talking about like a, Wilt, Kareem, LeBron, Jordan. Those are really the kind of arguments you're talking about. I mean, she is clearly one of the best women to ever play the game. I don't know if she's one of the most important to ever play. I mean, you're talking about like, Nancy Lieberman, you're talking about like Cheryl Miller.
Great point.
So I don't know about that. And Will talked about Asia Wilson. You can argue right now, that Caitlin Clark is far more important, has been far more important for the women's game than Diana Taurasi. You can make that argument. But I think that, that as far as her being one of the greatest of all time, absolutely. There's no question of that. And I think time will tell about, her, where she is in the pantheon in terms of what she did for the game, because that's really where she is now. For now it's not about, what you do on the floor. What are you going to do to continue to advance the women's game? And I think that's going to matter for her in terms of what her legacy is going forward.
All right, Coach Johnson, any thoughts? Because there's a young lady that from the Philadelphia area that was pretty good too, that I don't know if she gets the on the court accolades, but any thoughts about Diana Taurasi?
Well, again, I think her career was outstanding. She won everywhere she played at, but I do agree with Kyle about the fact that she's boring. And unfortunately, that's something people take into account. Unfortunately, again, she played, she did her thing, but again, I got to go back with Mike. I think, when you talking about the GOAT for women, for me, I start with Cheryl Miller. And again, what you do off the floor also matters in terms of people understanding more about you and having a different insight into your love when you played. So I think she had a tremendous career. I think she was a fantastic player, but I do not see her as the GOAT. That's more that UConn talk. That's more that UConn talk. You know what I mean? But yes, she was fantastic.
Okay, Mike King, what are your thoughts, sir?
See, now I was ready to come here and be a hater, but everyone, I almost feel like I have to be devil's advocate. I mean, she was a big deal. She carried she was the face of the WNBA for a while. Yes. I hate her. I just hate her so much, but she was she's on the Mount Rushmore to me, but Cheryl Miller's number one. I think I'd have Lisa Leslie number two. Candace Parker, and Candace Parker was right there in that same time frame as Diana Taurasi, and she was MVP or rookie year. Candace Parker, I think, and she's won championships on 3 teams. But Diana Taurasi, she's in the conversation. I just don't think Cheryl Miller scored 105 points in a high school game. 105
Yes.
points.
Yes.
I mean, there are people, and again, Reggie Miller, that era is when I was a kid watching basketball.
When she did that, there were no 3-pointers yet.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that's like my time frame of being like a young NBA fan. And pretty much everybody said, well, Cheryl Miller is better than Reggie Miller. And this is when Reggie Miller's a star. And pretty much like that was standard talk, even in a time frame.
And it was
so
like, yeah, okay.
now.
Yeah, nobody was like, you're crazy. Like, yeah.
And today we're more like, when it comes to like gender stuff, better. But back then, like, women's game, it was more so that. And even the average fan would be like, well, yeah, Cheryl Miller's better than Reggie Miller. That wasn't like a big deal to say in an era which was much more anti-women than today. She's number one. If she had a league to like that, like the WNBA, like there were leagues, she was drafted in a men's league. If she had like a women's league to be in, it would have like then we would have had more of a chance for her to have her get the accolade she deserves.
Great point.
So Diana Taurasi, she's got like that Cal Ripken thing. She played a lot. She played a long time. She built up her stats. She's got 1,000 Olympics. Great. She's in the top 4, but she's not number 1. She'll never be number 1 to me.
Diana Taurasi is a far better women's basketball player than Cal Ripken ever was a baseball player.
That's
true. That's not even close, man.
I agree.
Okay.
There's still stat patterns for longevity.
Okay. For me, this is a no-hate. This is a conversation, and I love that we talk like this. So I'm a wrestling historian, and to me, the greatest tag team ever was Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, because of the impact that they made. They drew money everywhere, and there's a phrase in wrestling called Road Warrior Pop. That means when you walk into the arena, everyone loses their mind. It's called the Road Warrior Pop. But the most decorated tag team ever are Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. The Dudley boys won championships, won awards, won accolades. Same thing with the Usos, the New Day, what have you. So that's how I look at the Diana Taurasi argument. She's got every single accolade you would ever want. She's got 6 Olympics. Okay. She's got undefeated season at UConn. She's got like 1 MVP from the WNBA. She's got all of these different awards. She's the all-time career scoring leader in the WNBA. But when I look at the GOAT debate, it does start with people like Cheryl Miller, Lynette Woodard, Cynthia Cooper. Come on, man. I think Coop doesn't get no love. Like she won 4 titles when everybody was good. No disrespect. And now we're not being disrespectful, but Cheryl Miller had to play against better competition. And now on the women's side, there's better competition that you have 16, 18, 20 teams you can have in a women's league, when before it just wasn't poured in. So you had to be elite of elite to even be considered. So that's my take. Sorry you don't like the Dudleys, Robert, but Hawk and Animal are the standard. Midnight Express, rock and roll. They're all great teams, but it's a Road Warrior pop. So anyway, that's kind of how I look at it. But that was good, folks. That was good. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, also seen on Cascade Sports. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches Podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.